Because what you, the unsung heroes in the wastewater industry, do matters. Join me, Suzan Chin-Taylor, the DooDoo Diva, a longtime veteran of the wastewater, trenchless, and civil infrastructure industry each week as I deliver industry know-how from industry pros who know how. Whether you want to learn about the latest trends in technology, training and retaining great talent, sales and marketing, leadership and growth, or simply how to be more efficient, productive, or profitable, this podcast is for you. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the DooDoo Divas Smells Like Money podcast. Today, we are visiting with Adam Povlitz, CEO of Anago Cleaning Systems. Now, some of you may be thinking, okay, so what's commercial cleaning service have to do with wastewater industry? Well, a whole lot. Adam and I met via LinkedIn. And as many of you know, that is like my favorite platform for connecting. I encounter some of the most amazing, interesting people. And the reason I wanted to have Adam come on the show is because they have incorporated the use of AI and some very interesting customer experience and customer service models, which I felt really should be shared because what they're doing has allowed Adam and his company to grow exponentially. But more than that, create a model that really enables them for amazing client retention in an extremely competitive industry or service. And I felt that what they are doing with their company could really be applied to service businesses in our industry, primarily plumbers, septic haulers, septic installers, trenchless technology providers, really anybody that's providing a service where they're in a very competitive market or in a geographic area, and how they can use some of what Anago employed in their business that really it crosses into any service business. And with that, Adam, I'm going to let you tell the story and really share, what's worked for your service business and how it could really help any service business that's dealing in a highly competitive market. And so welcome to the show.
Hey, Suzanne, that's a heck of an introduction. I hate to have to follow that up. But yeah, thank
you've done some incredible things. So take it away.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I think you don't think of the phrase technology and then janitorial as two almost like jumbo shrimp, an oxymoron or something like that. But in our space we realized that we're not going to out technology our competition in the actual tools that are used for the cleaning services, right? Everybody who has any reasonable scale is able to get the same chemicals, equipment, same machines, everything that we can get, they can get. And so what we did is we said, okay, the future clearly is, the future is clearly here with AI and some of the technological things and 5G. And we said, how can we utilize that to do better in places that would have to be unique to us? And so it's not going to be a better mop and broom. And we decided to invest in customer service. So what we've done is we created a proprietary app called CleanCom. And what that does is it allows the customers, if there's any issue that they're having in their particular cleaning, right? So, maybe a trash can didn't get picked or a floor didn't get cleaned to their satisfaction. They're able to take out their phone, send a message through CleanCom, right? Totally private messaging. It involves Google Translate, so they can speak in whatever language they're speaking in. The people who clean the building can respond in their native language, and everything is translated so that it's easily communicated. That helped, number one, speed the resolution to any issues where there is an issue with cleaning. And then number two, we built what we call preventive analytics on the back end of that. So say a particular, in our model, so we're franchised. So it would be a franchise owner in their business that would be maybe underperforming at a particular client. If our folks in the operations and customer service departments see that a particular franchisee is continually getting reports that the restroom isn't cleaning, the system actually tells us and says, hey, this guy needs a retraining on how to properly handle restrooms to prevent future complaints from customers in that area. So it gets really powerful, really fast. And what we're doing next is investing in an e-learning platform to tie all that together. So rather than us having to then physically retrain that franchisee in a particular aspect, if the AI flags them for having too many issues in, say, those restrooms, it'll automatically serve up an e-learning video with a quiz that they have to pass before they're recertified to service that area that they're getting complaints in. So it sounds really complex, but if you think about it, in any service industry, right? The beauty of every service industry, is that it's not going to get exported to China. It's not going to get,
Right.
Amazon's not going to come to town and put you out of business if you're, on plumbing or any kind of, cleaning in my case. But what happens? The downside is that we're all humans and people make mistakes. And so you can easily find points where you know what the common mistakes are in your industry. You can track what the common mistakes are and then come up with ways to counteract that and get out ahead of that for customers. So it doesn't have to be as complicated as maybe I've made it sound. It's knowing your industry, knowing what goes well, knowing what goes wrong, and getting out ahead of it.
Well, I love this in that you're talking about the customer service, and even with a franchise, as you were explaining that, the wheels in my head were turning because one, let's just say you aren't a franchise, but you have an app for your customers that you send out. Let's say you are a plumbing contractor or a grease trap hauler, and you have a crew member that goes out to a customer and something doesn't go as planned or doesn't go right, or they forget something. All right. So that having that ability for that customer to communicate that back just allows you to then help that employee not to come down on them, but just be able to say, hey, we got this feedback. What happened out there? Not you're going to crack the whip, but what happened out there? And they may say, oh my gosh, I was distracted. Or you know what? I completely forgot that client needed that. So then all of a sudden it becomes, instead of a reactive negative situation, it becomes something that you internally can turn around with that crew member and say, all right, well, you need to go back and revisit that customer, and here's what you need. And what could we do, technical member of our team, so that the next time, maybe, do we need a check sheet? Do we need something to help you so that those things that maybe might be secondhand nature to Joe, but aren't to you, Frank, that because you've been doing it so long, that to help you not forget those little things that need to be done.
Exactly.
And then also giving that opportunity, I also see, to go back to that customer and say, hey, our tech is going to be back out tomorrow to take care of that thing we missed.
Right. Right. And so, I think we can agree that the most important and most important and most, what's the word I'm looking for here? Simple, yet at the same time, part of customer service is communication. And so if you have a lot of these apps, right? We went proprietary. We decided to design our own with a firm and spent the money. There's a lot. We did this years ago when we started this path. At this point, right, it's 2024. There are so many communication apps for customers out there that you can purchase for a very nominal monthly subscription and just open the lines of communication, right? You close the feedback loop. So like you said, maybe something got missed. Maybe the customer just has to maybe nothing got missed and the customer just says, hey, I'm running 30 minutes late. Whatever it may be, is now you're opening the lines of communication. And then if you put a little bit, I mean, nominal tracking on the back end, right? This could be as simple as a spreadsheet where you go, what is the reports on each of these messages we've gotten? And if you see a trend, like you said, like, hey, we tend to forget X, then like you create a checklist, you create a process. It allows you to figure out where your areas for improvement are without being,
Yes.
some tech guru, some tech genius. It's just, it closes the feedback loop.
Well, as a result of incorporating these, what did it do for your business by having this? Like, what did you see happen as a result of, okay, we're going to incorporate this?
So, I mean, at first, right, you feel like, man, we invested all this money and nothing,
Right.
right? You got to kind of get the flywheel going. Um, but then what ends up happening is severalfold. One, the retention rate starts going up. Our average customer now stays with us for about 5 years now.
Wow.
Usually in our industry, the turnover is terrible. I mean, terrible in commercial cleaning, turnover is somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 50% of client contracts change hands every year. Um, by incorporating this, the first thing that happened is over time, as we were able to roll more and more clients out with it, um, our retention rate went to over 80%. So less than half of the industry average do we end up losing due to, and usually it's natural attrition, customers just doing every 3 years, we go out for an RFP or whatever it may be. But our attrition cut in half. And then on the flip side, referrals went off the charts. And so
Wow. Okay.
because customers knew that, like, man, yeah, these guys will take care of you. And if you have any issue, you pull out your phone and, in our case, you take a picture of what the issue is. And like I said, and all the translation, everything's built in. So they know they're taken care of. And so then they go, oh yeah, I got one of my buddy's businesses is looking for cleaning. Let me refer you, and I'll show him how cool this app works. And so it ended up we actually put out a challenge to our franchise system at the end of um, 2021, and I said I wanted to grow by 50% by the end of 2023. So I gave him 2 years to do it. But with this and a few other sales efforts that we put forward, we ended up growing by 50% in about 19 months. And so
Amazing.
it's amazing how fast you can grow when you can focus on the sales side and you're not focusing as much, not having to spend as much time uh, putting out fires and having customers fall off the back end, so to speak. When you can be singularly focused, it's quite a ride.
Well, it almost sounds like by having a better customer experience, it's creating less need, like you were saying, to deal with those reactive
Right.
operational challenges, not, for you as a company, but also for the franchisees and what they do day to day. So they're
Exactly.
focusing more on the revenue generation than putting out fires, I guess, being more proactive versus reactive for how they're dealing with things. But I love that how it raised the referrals, because we all know that how much it costs to get a new client
Right.
or to generate a new one versus keeping an existing one happy 5 times as much. But the fact that word of mouth marketing, it costs you nothing. And that's just an amazing return on investment for something like this. So I'd like to segue into this is kind of like a little bit of an offshoot that I just see that's could be applied for, any type of service business if you're doing your service. But I want to delve into a little bit because you went into the franchising model, branching out from just being a local regional service business to the, hey, if I want to grow exponentially. So I'd like you to maybe speak to how having a tool like this can help you not only to, let's say you're a company that's in the Milwaukee area, just Wisconsin area, but hey, maybe I'd like to go into another state. I don't want to franchise, but I want to be a corporate owned, but in another region. How having something like this can really help you accelerate that process to launching in another region? What was your experience in that? And then also touch in, well, if I want to go into the franchise model, how having a tool like this really helped franchisees become rapidly successful, which of course is the corporate owner, how that impacted your bottom line.
Right. So yeah, so franchising in and of itself, right, is obviously a different animal.
Right.
But the objective of a franchise is continuity of service, right? So if you go to a McDonald's in Texas, you're going to get the same, hamburger as you get at McDonald's in New York. It's about that consistency. And so something like the software we're using, this CleanCom, what it allows, whether you franchise or not, it allows for that same level of consistency, right? And so what's tough, what I found early in my career, when we were a very small business, I mean, let's be honest, we all think we do it the best. And when you hire employees, you go like, oh, I'm
Right.
nervous to delegate that off because, they can't do it as good as I can. And you're probably not wrong, right? You've been, you're the expert, you're the business owner. But what this allows for is a standardization of process. And now you open up that location that's, in the other state or, 3, 4, 5 hours away from your home office. And how do you go like, I know they're not going to do it as good as me, because I'm the owner.
Mm,
We all have our ego. But you go, wait a minute. If I wrote the process and I'm the one who's requiring what they need to do, and it's all being tracked in this piece of software, now you're getting kind of the franchise consistency without necessarily having to go the franchise route. Now the employee just executes, what you want them to execute in that particular, part of the state or country. So very, very unique way to do it.
and something else that your company did, when you think about commercial cleaning, you kind of zoned in and stayed like in one kind of lane, didn't you? You didn't try to be all things to all people. You focused in on what you were really good at. So share a little bit about that and how you came to that decision on, where's the sweet spot for me to be profitable and where do I want my franchisees, or in this case, if you're thinking my branch offices, to focus efforts.
Yeah. So I think there's arguments for both sides, right? I think there's definitely industries where being multi-line service is valuable and that's what your customers are expecting. And I think there's a value in being very, very good at one particular niche. My dad used to joke, he said Colonel Sanders would say, "We do chicken."
Yes.
KFC. And obviously, I mean, that's a multi-million dollar brand that's been
Right.
around, almost 100 years at this point. And we said, you know what, rather than trying to be all things for all people, let's focus on what we do best. And utilize our customer service method and software in order to be the best at one particular thing very well.
And that's,
Just
yeah.
chicken.
Yeah, clean like chicken. You're cleaning. It's like for myself, it was a little bit different model in that I decided to focus on one particular niche, but expand the services all related to marketing, to either traditional or digital, horizontally, but never wavered from that market specialty.
Yeah.
And so for you, it's almost like it's commercial cleaning, but just commercial, not, going and cleaning somebody's house or going and cleaning for a party, but just it's, picking those battles. I think that's a really smart way of going about it, of either a market and horizontal or just staying in that lane and being known. But again, customer service is the thing that really breeds the loyalty these days.
Yeah. At this
Because,
point, I think there's any differentiation between any 2, 3 plumbers, right? As long if you're a
right,
master plumber, you're a certified master plumber, you know what you're doing. Yeah, I'm sure there's guys that are better than others, no doubt. But at the same time, at the highest levels, you're either certified and a professional or you're not. And then what's the difference between why I would pick one or the other? It's communication, customer service, follow-up. And that's where you can be, head and shoulders above a competitor, because there's a lot of people that get into, various service industries because, maybe that's all they know, maybe that's something that they're comfortable with, but they think about it from an execution standpoint and not from, I gotta fix this particular toilet or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
versus what is the customer, almost like the user experience. In technology, they call it the user
Right.
experience.
I love it. It is. It's the customer experience. And I really love what you've done in that. I think embracing technology like this for that, where you were saying bridging that communication, because as a busy business owner, you're a CEO, I'm a CEO. How can we possibly have, if we want to grow, how can we possibly have our eyes everywhere on every situation, in every scenario, with every customer as it's taking place in real time? We can't. But
Right,
having a tool like this allows us to get a handle on what is actually happening out there in the field so that we can make educated decisions as to how can we be better? Or if we are doing a great job, how can we take that and brag about it from a marketing standpoint to use those great customer reviews or comments back to us to our advantage to let people know, hey, this is why you want to work with us, because Mary Smith or Robert Jones or whoever said this was, don't take our word for it. Listen to what our customers have to say,
right,
because people nowadays, and we're seeing a shift now in digital marketing and digital selling, where people are somewhat paying attention to content, but they're really more paying attention to what our customers are saying
right,
as the thing that's going to drive them to make a decision whether or not to work with us or to work with the next guy.
right. I think I would say, yeah, and utilizing the communication in a digital platform also allows you to capture those positive feedback moments from customers. And then if you're doing, website advertising or something like that, how easy is it to put social validation right on your website
Right.
of Suzanne said, oh, they were phenomenal to work with. They're so great to work with. And you see 10, 20 of those on someone's website and you go, wow, maybe they are really good to work with.
Adam, another component that you mentioned to me about the training that you give your franchisees, that's also part of this communication and whole thing that you're weaving together, is video training for consistency. So tell me a little bit about that and how you're accomplishing that.
So if you think about the old way of creating training videos, it's extremely expensive. It's painstaking, right? Someone has to know the process. Someone then has to write the script. Then you're either filming yourself and trying to be an actor, and I'm no actor. I don't know about you, but I'm, I'm nervous behind the camera. Um, or paying an actor, right? And all of this ends up adding up to lots of money and lots of time. And then God forbid you want to make a change to your process and you go, oh geez, I gotta, redo a whole video and that's going to cost thousands of dollars. So we found a platform, since we've talked about AI today, we found there's multiple platforms out there. They're called AI avatars. And what they do is you can create videos and it looks like an actual person on camera, kind of almost like standing in front of a PowerPoint, where that you can put
Okay.
we can put the text on screen, you can put videos on it, you can attach images to it, and then the person is speaking on screen a script that you type in. And so now you're able to, number one, do this for pennies on the dollar, right? I mean, we're talking about where normally probably a video would be a few $1,000s. This is unlimited videos, and you're talking maybe a few $1,000s a year for unlimited number of videos, or however many videos you want to create. And then if something happens and you go, oh geez, we don't like the process, we want to change the process or improve the process, it literally takes minutes to go back in, edit what the AI avatar speaker is saying, tweak the PowerPoint, and it's a brand new video. And all of this stuff can be distributed through YouTube or cell phones or whatever methodology you want to use. But we've found it to be incredibly powerful, because it allows us to be like incredibly nimble. I mean, think about like during COVID where everyone had to rewrite whatever their processes were to account for mask usage and
Right.
in our industry, disinfection procedures, upon entering a facility or, various things. And now all of a sudden you got to roll that out and you have what, a few weeks to figure it out. I could
Mhm.
roll that out in an hour now versus hiring a production crew and all that crazy stuff. So I think it's also made just the learning process that much more. It's obviously it's fun, it's interactive, right? There's a
Mhm.
person talking versus just reading a screen. You can almost do it in like podcast format, which is great. So then it's the person is kind of reading what's on the screen. And it's incredibly nimble. And I think that's probably the way that learning is going to be going in the future. Is people love to listen and watch. They don't like to read anymore, not in
No.
2024.
No, they don't. And it's also, I think, because it becomes a visual with moving pictures that they can actually see themselves, what would you call experiential learning,
Right.
that, oh, okay, so I can watch the video. I could be doing it, putting it on pause. If I forgot, okay, do the next step to guide themselves through and rewatch it over and over again. Where you're absolutely right. Just reading something in a manual and trying to imagine in your mind or thinking, okay, did I interpret that correctly?
Yeah.
What they were telling me to do, but actually seeing it in real world helps take the learning to another level.
The
And you're,
number one subset of searches on YouTube are DIY videos.
oh
So if
yeah,
you So if you can make your entire company and processes DIY videos and relatively inexpensively, I mean that's the wave of the future.
now, how are you doing this? If you're willing to share your secret, are you doing it through a particular service or
We,
subscription? Is this something you developed in house?
no, this is online. There's several. There's companies called Colossian. There's another one called oh, what's the name of it? They're all AI avatar companies. Synthesia, they're all funky
Okay.
names. They're all very AI names, but um, if you look up any of those, and I'm sure, type in competitors, it's companies like those that it's AI avatar video creation. And like I
Okay.
said, very inexpensive compared to the traditional video creation methods of the past.
Well, thank you for sharing that tip. That's really cool. Thank you for that. I truly think that this principle could apply to any service business. And, as a thank you for any of you, you're a nationwide business. For any of you who have an office, and I'm sure a lot of you do, or even cities who may be listening, that need cleaning services. I mean, I use one myself. Who has time to clean when you're a busy business owner, or who really wants to clean? And so if you have need for, commercial cleaning services for your business, I invite you to check, Anago Cleaning Services. How can they get a hold of you or learn more about what you do, Adam?
We are at anagocleaning.com, ANAGO cleaning.com, and then all the social media we're there. And it's all slash, Facebook slash Anago Cleaning. And if someone has a question for me in particular, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, as Suzanne knows. So just look me up on LinkedIn, Adam Povlitz, and shoot me a message, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, especially, with that development, something that I had asked you about was, hey, this thing sounds really, really good, this tool. So maybe you should sell it, or have it, the core of it, and then have it customized for other industries. Because, right out of the gate, it just sounds like I know that there's a lot of canned things out there on a subscription. And then maybe that is a good place for people to start. But if they need something customized, maybe reach out to Adam as to, if you really want something that's very catered to your particular business, maybe he can give you some pointers on that. But again, Adam, thank you for coming on the show and sharing your experience, your wisdom, and, for people who need help for cleaning, that they can get a hold of you. And again, for those of you listening, thank you for tuning in. And until next time, keep it flowing.
Be sure to subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode. If you're an industry expert and would like to be considered as a guest on the show, click the Be a Podcast guest link below in the show notes for more information. Thanks again for joining me, the DooDoo Diva, on this week's episode of the Smells Like Money podcast.